The Earth's atmosphere operates as an electromagnetic cavity. When continuous strikes of global lightning hit the surface, they generate invisible electromagnetic waves that become permanently trapped within the boundary between the ground and the ionosphere. Because lightning strikes the Earth between 40 and 100 times every single second, these trapped waves form continuous standing atmospheric frequencies known as Schumann resonances. For decades, these frequencies were studied strictly as weather mechanics, but quantitative evidence now suggests that these planetary electromagnetic fields actively and continuously interact with human cerebral cortical activity. This breakdown of the biophysical data is brought to you by Shane Persinger of Synestic Systems. If the human brain is sensitive to ambient picotesla fields, it means the electrical architecture of human consciousness is physically tethered to planetary weather systems. The fundamental frequency of the Schumann resonance peaks at approximately 7.8 Hz. The subsequent harmonics in the atmospheric profile consistently peak at 14.1 Hz and 20.3 Hz. Now we compare that to quantitative electroencephalographic, or QEEG, spectral density. QEEG is a standard diagnostic method used to record and map the electrical frequency patterns of the average human brain. This chart displays the sample power spectra of a human QEEG directly alongside the Schumann resonance profile. Looking at the x-axis, the primary frequency peaks of the brain and the atmosphere align precisely around 7.8 Hz. Secondary peaks also align near the 14 Hz range. In physics, when two independent systems share identical intrinsic frequencies and dynamic amplitudes, the probability of shared resonance and direct interaction becomes highly probable. This perfect mathematical overlap provides the exact biophysical prerequisite required for direct energy exchange to occur between the Earth's atmosphere and human biology. Recording this interaction in real time is an extreme technical challenge. It requires the simultaneous capture of ultra-weak ambient electric fields in the environment and microvolt brainwave fluctuations on the scalp. These images detail the Herbert induction coil magnetometer. Detecting atmospheric intensities in picoteslas required utilizing 96,000 turns of continuous copper wire. Interfacing this coil with standard EEG amplifiers isolated the biological signal, providing empirical proof of brain-environment equilibrium. Inside the brain, the structural bottleneck interfacing with these frequencies is the para-hippocampal region. Zooming into its upper layers reveals the entorhinal cortices. Here, individual neurons continuously display intrinsic electrical oscillations, with a prominent peak occurring at exactly 8 Hz. That 8 Hz biological rhythm perfectly engulfs the 7.8 Hz fundamental Schumann harmonic. Anatomically, this region functions as an intermodality integrator. It takes disparate sensory inputs, like vision and hearing, transforming them into unified interactive frequencies. Because this exact neural cluster synthesizes all sensory experience while simultaneously matching planetary electrical frequencies, it serves as the ultimate biological gateway for atmospheric modulation. To maintain a state of waking consciousness, the brain must continuously share visual and spatial data between its left and right hemispheres. The connective tissue primarily responsible for transferring this interhemispheric data is the dorsal hippocampal commissure. This scatter plot maps the Schumann electric field intensity against the net difference in current density between brain hemispheres. The downward trend line proves that as Schumann frequency intensity increases, the electrical discrepancy between the left and right para-hippocampal regions definitively shrinks. This secondary chart corroborates the finding, looking closely at coherent strength within the temporal lobes. The clustering here reveals moderate strength positive correlations tied directly to the first harmonic, the white dots, and the second harmonic, the black dots. The biological sensitivity is extreme. A 0.1 millivolt shift boosts interhemispheric coherence, forcing population convergence across 500,000 neurons. Planetary frequencies actively drive the exact left-right brain coherence that is theoretically required to sustain waking human awareness. Beyond immediate waking awareness, we must examine the process of long-term memory consolidation, taking place deep within the hippocampus. The baseline electrical architecture required to form a memory operates on a slow 7 Hz theta wave. Superimposed on this baseline are much smaller, rapid 40 to 45 Hz waves, known as ripples, acting as the structural bridge between memory and consciousness. To understand how environmental energy alters this structure, we use the Landauer limit. This is a thermodynamic principle defining the absolute minimum energy threshold required to physically acquire or dissipate one single bit of information into entropy. This reveals the central biophysical convergence. When the magnetic energy shared between the brain and the 2 picotesla Schumann harmonic is calculated, it is exactly equivalent to the Landauer limit. The Schumann resonance possesses the precise, mathematically verified thermodynamic energy required to physically write or erase neurological data at the synaptic level. The brain requires a highly sensitive 15-minute window, known as the ephemeral period, to consolidate a short-term experience into a permanent memory. During this 15-minute window, the data transfer capacity between the Earth ionosphere cavity and the human brain reaches approximately 1 kilobit of potential information. As the encoding process takes place, this continuous 1 kilobit energy transfer actively modulates and perturbs the 40 Hz ripples. This atmospheric modulation does not possess enough raw energy to completely erase the memory. Instead, it subtly alters the specific line codes being synthesized by the cells. This creates a retrieval paradox. When the right prefrontal region later recalls this event, it has no biological mechanism to distinguish the atmospheric alterations from the original sensory input. Atmospheric resonances subtly edit the consolidation of an experience as it happens. The subject retrieves the altered memory architecture and feels it is completely, objectively real. Pulling back from the microscopic scale, the broader systemic interaction across multiple harmonics over time becomes visible. This spectrogram demonstrates fugal coupling, comparing Schumann harmonics to a musical fugue where subject melodies harmonize over time. The red and yellow intervals identify precise moments of cross-frequency coherence between the Earth and the human cerebral domain. The complete pathway is mathematically verifiable. Global lightning generates 7.8 Hz fields. The para-hippocampal region captures them. The commissure uses them to drive hemispheric coherence, and the Landauer limit dictates they have the thermodynamic capacity to edit memory. Human cognition, sensory integration, and memory do not exist as isolated biological loops. Rather, they operate in a state of persistent, quantitative equilibrium with the electromagnetic architecture of the planet itself.